Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, no, we can do better than that. Good afternoon, everyone. I am pleased to welcome you here today. My name is Carlos Rodriguez, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director of the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean Counties. And I'd like to thank our boards, our friends, our supporters, volunteers, and team members from the Food Bank, our partners, the People's Pantry, Jon Bon Jovi Soul Foundation, and the community at large. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'd like to especially welcome our elected officials representing Congressman Tom MacArthur. It's not Chris Griswold. Who is it here today? Frank Luna. Thank you, Frank. Where are you, Frank? There we go. Thank you, Frank. Mayor Tom Kelleher, Mayor of Toms River. Mayor Carmen Armato, Mayor of Manchester Township. Freeholder Director Joe Vicari. Freeholder Deputy Director Jerry Little. And distinguished members of the Tom River Council and all township officials. One big round of applause for everyone, please. I'm also very pleased to welcome Donna Barati, representing her father Rocco, the owner of Silverton Plaza, our future home. Thank you, Donna. Mark Costas and George Chenoweth from Crossroads Realty. You know, the title says our broker, but boy, that doesn't really begin to cover it. Thank you so much, George and Mark. Our architect and a former member of the Food Bank Board, Paul Barlow. Paul. And Harvey York, our attorney, another angel. And a very, very special welcome to Mr. David Tepper of the David Tepper Foundation and his colleagues. David? Just also like to acknowledge the Toms River Regional School for the amazing setup that they've done and the display. These are their chairs you sit on, and so many of the things that you see here today, they had a hand in contributing, because this is a raw space, and very raw space. Why are we here today? Why are we here today? The answer can be very simply stated because our neighbors need us. More and more of our neighbors in Ocean County are in need of services. We're reaching 1 in 10 residents throughout the entire county, both counties, in fact. And so what happened about 18 months ago, after the Food Bank had already ramped up services in response to the recession, and then again in response to Sandy, we were welcomed back, and we were asked to explore what I lovingly refer to as putting a shingle in Ocean County. And no sooner did we start whispering with friends about how that could happen and where that could happen, that we were matched. We were matched first with friends that we had just met, born out of Sandy, People's Pantry. And then shortly with friends that we've already known and have been working with, the Jon Bon Jovi Soul Foundation. And the conversation grew and grew, and we explored. And quite frankly, what happened was what the Food Bank is pretty much, I think, known for doing. It's bringing collaboration together. Bringing different stakeholders to this proverbial table to be able to address the needs of our community. Whether it's individual donors, whether it's food industry, whether it's the charities that we work with, or volunteers and individuals from the community. We really just like to leverage each other's unique and compassionate desire to help one another. So what we're here today to really announce is the creation of the B.E.A.T Center. It's no big reveal, it's right behind me. But the B.E.A.T Center, what it is a resource hub here in Toms River where Ocean County families and individuals can access not only food, but education and other resources that will really end the cyclical causes of hunger. I like to say we like to feed the lines, but we also like to work to shorten those lines. I think in Tom's River, we'll work to really hold the lines really far away from any families as well. Keep them away altogether. You know, there's much more to tell you, but first, I'd like to introduce the man whose township will be the home to the B.E.A.T Center, and who has graciously welcomed us and supported the development of the B.E.A.T Center. The B.E.A.T Center, which stands for Bringing Everyone All Together. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Tom Kelleher.
Good afternoon, everybody, and as the mayor, let me welcome all of you to Tom's River. Carlos, thank you, and thank you for the great job you've been doing for so many years. You've really made a difference here in this community. What a happy day this is for me to be the mayor of Tom's River, to realize that Jon Bon Jovi and his foundation and his Soul Kitchen and the food pantry and the People's Pantry have all joined together to create this wonderful program. You know, most of you do know, if you've been around here for a while, that Superstorm Sandy devastated our area. Over 10,000 homes were impacted, either destroyed, flooded, partially destroyed, or a combination. So many people were hurt and out of their homes. We had the state of New Jersey lost $4 billion in ratables along the coast, and $2 billion were right here in Tom's River. That gives you some picture of how much we were damaged and devastated by that storm. It's coming back slowly but surely. There's a lot of building going on and so on, but there are still a lot of people out of their homes. One of the inspirations to me as a mayor was to see the wonderful spirit of volunteerism that existed. I know I cite one example because Tom's River has always been famous for volunteers, firemen, first aid, and so on. But one of the most inspiring things I saw was a couple of days after the storm, somebody had donated trays of sandwiches, and I was with the guys from the Silver and Fire Company. They had the sandwiches on the running boards, going up and down, just handing sandwiches out to people who were just devastated, taking all of their possessions and dumping them in the street, furniture, beds, books, memorabilia, and just handing them out to people who were so grateful because they had no power and no utilities. And the chief of the fire department said he and 19 of his men had lost their own homes, and here they are out giving out food. And that's the type of volunteerism that exists here in this town. And we really couldn't function without them. But we're so happy to welcome you here. The members of our township council are here. Our council president, Jeff Carr, is here, and our council folks, Mo Hill, Brian Cabell, and Maria Maruca are all here to just show that the entire township and our governing body supports what you folks want to do for us here. And we want to pledge to you that whatever help you need, and I think I've made that clear and communicated that to you, all you've got to do is ask. Our philosophy is, what can we do to help? And I'm looking forward to when this is a finished product and come home and have a meal with you folks, all right? So thank you, everybody. God bless you, and keep up the good work.
Mayor, you mentioned the struggles right here in Tom's River, but it's unfortunately a struggle that's widespread throughout Ocean County. Ocean County was indeed ground zero for Superstorm Sandy. It's New Jersey's fastest growing county and has the nation's second highest concentration of seniors. It's home to more than 10% of New Jersey veterans. This is a county where 1 in 4 residents are low income, and in the past decade has seen a tremendous increase in both poverty, and child poverty has doubled. And these are mostly pre-storm statistics. So we didn't need Superstorm Sandy to come make things worse. But Ocean County is also a place where a hand up goes a very long way. As you heard the mayor, the spirit of volunteerism, the spirit of getting back on your feet and making the best with what you have is very much alive in Ocean County. Ocean County Freeholder Deputy Director Jerry Little is chairman of the Human Services for Ocean County. I've had the pleasure of hearing him speak at the Human Services Advisory Council meetings just since shortly when I came here. And I seen the struggles and heard the struggles. How do you manage this new need in an environment where ratables are shrinking and there's less resources to just do the basics? He sees these realities on a daily basis and works with agencies like us across the county to make certain programs continue to provide for those in need. And if I can offer The way we've gotten it done is through partnership and collaboration. Please join me in welcoming Freeholder Little.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Carlos. As Carlos mentioned, one of my responsibilities as freeholder is liaison to human services. And indeed, because of the Great Recession and because of Superstorm Sandy, we have many, many thousands of families in need. We have hundreds of families that are still not in their homes. And Ocean County is doing everything that we possibly can to contribute and to resolve those problems. And with me today, I want to make sure that I recognize my colleague, Freeholder Joe Vicari, who just does a great job in his departments. And on behalf of the board, we're honored to be here. Carlos mentioned the Human Services Advisory Commission, which is under our Human Services Department. And Carlos is one of the members of that commission, and he makes many, many positive contributions. He is always there, and he represents the food bank very well. And Carlos, we thank you for your service to Ocean County. And Carlos mentioned that Ocean County is home to 10% of the state's veterans, more veterans in Ocean County than anywhere else in the state of New Jersey. And one of them preceded me up here, a retired lieutenant colonel in the United States Marines, our Mayor Tom Kelleher. And we thank you, Mayor. And today we're here to recognize and to thank the Jon Bon Jovi Foundation and the Food Bank of Monmouth County and Ocean County and the People's Pantry. We thank you for coming together to create this resource to help those in need in Ocean County. As a freeholder, we are very well aware that government, as Carlos mentioned, we do an awful lot, but those are taxpayers' dollars, and we are restricted on the amount of money that we can spend. So it's the charitable organizations and the people that care and volunteers and churches and all the religious organizations and all the nonprofits throughout Ocean County and actually throughout the state and the country that step in and fill the need that government can't fill. And we thank all of you for your individual organizations that you belong to, for your service, for your caring for the poor and needy. And it shows a lot about our nation and our country that people all over, not only Ocean County, but our entire nation, step up to help those in need. So we thank you all here today. We are honored that we will now have this wonderful facility here in Toms River in Ocean County, and we certainly pledge to do our very best as the Board of Freeholders to cooperate and support your group to the greatest extent that we can. And may God continue to bless our great county and our nation, and we thank you all for being here. Thank you. Could we have someone to present this to?
Sure.
Mr. Bon Jovi? John? And we have the food bank. Could we have someone from the pantry? And how about our colleague, Joe? And Mayor? Come on. This was adopted by the Ocean County Board of Freeholders, and it thanks these organizations for their commitment to Ocean County. And it's signed by all members, all 5 members of the Board of Freeholders, and we wish this effort Godspeed, and thank you.
Thank you. To her friends and neighbors here in Toms River, Pat Donohue, the founder and president of People's Pantry, needs little introduction. To those of you who don't know the story of Pat and the People's Pantry, it's a story of the community's inspiring response to a disaster. during the immediate aftermath and over the long road to recovery. Our partner, Pat Donohue, I've met shortly after the storm, first providing emergency provisions, slowly rolling them in to be a part of our network because we knew we had to transition from an immediate response to a long-term recovery, and that the impact would go beyond those that were immediately affected. And so the partnership grew. Please join me in welcoming our partner, one of our network, Pat Donohue.
As Carlos said, we were born from the storm. This is home, and 2 days after the storm, when I left the safety of my home in the northwest corner of this township, I saw devastation that I never thought possible. We immediately began to build a resource hub, all things storm-related, from volunteer effort in clothing and furniture and food and mental health and name it, we had it. We became the go-to for storm. As other organizations came in and stabilized and grew, I was able to scale back what we did and focus on something I never knew existed, and that was the food insecurity in my hometown. Our hometown base grew to be countywide. We currently have 19,000 people registered in our database, and we feed about 3,000 families a month. Months ago, when I first sat with Mimi and Tamar from the Soul Foundation, it was pretty much after the storm, and we discussed Soul Kitchen, and my immediate thought, my guttural response was, this is incredible. I'm dealing with families that are fractured. Mom is living in one place and dad's living somewhere else, and kids are couch surfing. This is an opportunity to get those families back around the table at least once a week, where they could afford it and they can catch up. And that is a beautiful thing. We have a logo on the side of our truck that all great change in America begins at the dinner table. And that is because of families and food. And that's the one time during the course of the day that a mother and father can catch up with their children and really check in. And that, I know their names, I know their faces, I know their children, I know their stories. And these are my neighbors in every sense of the word. But something last night dawned on me. Aside from being a mother and a community volunteer, I run a pantry. And in the early days of that, running a pantry and seeing the need, it was overwhelming of how do I get product to feed these people. Gratefully, I grew big enough and was in a large enough space to bring in enough food from the food bank. But there are 132 other pantries in this county who don't have the luxury of space or volunteers that are young enough and strong enough to do what mine do. To have the food bank here to feed those pantries, we're going to feed so many people it's not even going to be funny. And maybe my roles will go from 19,000 to something a little bit more manageable. So I want to very briefly take a minute to thank my partners for thinking that what I did and what I do was worth bringing me into the fold, as it were. This is an incredible opportunity for my hometown, for my home county, and I can't begin to thank you enough. Thank you.
So imagine a place where you see a program to be a live lab, to really welcome the best of practices, to be able to try new things. Imagine a place where 132 other programs at least, will come in and be able to see those practices and share their own best practices. Imagine a place where volunteers speak to each other alongside participants of these services. Imagine a place where we not only invite folks to be able to take food back to the table, but everyone to sit around that proverbial table so we can really tell hunger that it's not welcomed in our community and nourish it to a point where it truly disappears. That's the B.E.A.T Center. That's what this collaboration is all about. And it starts, perhaps it starts with one, but it really continues with all of us here. Ladies and gentlemen, the B.E.A.T Center will be a permanent home to those that it'll serve. It'll struggle, it'll continue to help those that are struggling to recover from Sandy. It will reach no less than 71,000 people that the food bank currently touches with its charities. 71,000 people at a minimum. And these are pre-Sandy statistics. So most of the families that Pat mentioned aren't even counted in that. And a number of other pantries that were born in that response as well. You know, it starts with vision, but it very much continues with leadership. And at the food bank, I'm very proud to have a lot of leadership, whether it's in our team members, but especially in our board members. I'd like to introduce you all to someone whose third time is a charm, I guess, as board chair, and started this 25 years ago. And how fitting that at his third round as board chair, you're seeing the second expansion for our organization. First to our big facility in Neptune, and now, as it happens to be, as we really set ground here in Ocean County. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Don Norquist, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean Counties.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, I was originally looking at the agenda. I said, thank God I don't have to go after John. But after listening to Pat, I'm really kind of sorry I have to go after to Pat as well. You know, but listening to Pat, that's why we do what we do. You know, listening to her passion, recognizing the need that's there, inspires the entire board, and it's a group. We have 20 members on our board to do everything we possibly can to help people like People's Pantry. So at the food bank, we've seen a dramatic growth in demand in emergency food and services across the board, but in particularly Ocean County. In 2008, the food bank provided about 1.5 million pounds of food in Ocean County. Then we had the Great Recession, then we had Sandy, and that number doubled. And it just keeps on climbing. Now, last year, that number grew to almost 4 million pounds. Just in Ocean County, again, providing food through 133 food pantries, soup kitchens, and other charities in Ocean County. 3 years ago, the board realized the need to expand its presence in Ocean County. Quite frankly, as a Monmouth Ocean Food Bank, because of the fact that we were resident in Monmouth County, there was that stigma or that image that we were a Monmouth County organization. So the board said we need to do something down there. Quite frankly, at that point in time, we didn't have any idea what it was going to be. We evidently weren't the only ones that realized there was much more that could be done in Ocean County. And we consider ourselves very fortunate to be able to collaborate with our partners in the formation of this very unique model to alleviate hunger and build food security. Altogether with our partners, we projected in our first year alone over $5 million in food, benefits, services, and wages will go directly to families in need in Ocean County through the B.E.A.T Center. So on behalf of the board, I want to first thank the committee. Bill Mayo is the chair of that committee and his entire committee for the relentless effort in spearheading the food bank's contribution to this great project, as well as the entire board for their support and assistance, patience, and due diligence through the entire process. Lives will be changed at the B.E.A.T Center, and the food bank board is very proud to be part of this very exciting project. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Don mentioned $5 million in food, benefits, and services, wages that will go directly to families in need in Ocean County. That's our conservative estimate. It's a conservative estimate based on a proven track record of what we've all have already accomplished in our respective spaces. You know, the thing about this initiative is that each one of us alone would have gone out and plotted a course here in Ocean County, we would have had tremendous success. The challenge was to embrace a vision, bring it all together, and see what leveraging those strengths would really do. That's what we're doing. So when we say $5 million, it speaks to not just the food, the meals, the engagement of clients. It speaks to new programs, new initiatives that really say, you know what, hunger is not welcomed in Ocean County. Let's do something about it. Let's make sure families have the ability to go shop the way you and I shop. Let's give them a boost by giving them job training. Let's make work pay by making sure that they're connected to work supports. We introduced the first IRS free tax program here in Ocean County, the VITA program. And tomorrow will be tomorrow's tax day. I hope no one's reminded by that. And we will have, in 3 years, grown from just 600 tax returns in our first year on the heels of Sandy to over 1,200 tax returns will be filed by tomorrow. For families, most of the families actually here in Ocean County. Never had that. Could not have done it without the help of our partner locations, the Ocean County Library System, and so many others. These are the kind of services that we're looking to leverage. It's not $5 million in resources for the food bank, for People's Pantry, or for the Soul Kitchen. It's $5 million in the hands of our neighbors who need it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that type of return on investment that I think should make everyone excited. And I like to, but it's also an investment that's needed to really make this happen. And we estimate the cost to build out and equip the B.E.A.T Center to be at approximately $1.5 million. And the annual cost for programs and operations is projected to be approximately $1.2. All in all, over the next 3 years, the B.E.A.T Center will need about $5 million to fulfill its mission. $5 million for a cumulative of 3 years. And we offer to return back to the community at least $5 million in the first 12 months. We could not consider being here today, launching this initiative, committing to space, and planning the program here without early and generous support of a philanthropic partner. Someone who shares our vision of improving lives, and is also known for picking a good investment or two. Mr. David Tepper and the David Tepper Foundation. On behalf of the B.E.A.T Center partners, thank you, David, for sharing this vision, and please join me in welcoming David.
Thank you, Carlos. Well, this collaboration that we're talking about, that's kind of key for us, bringing different people together. And we've kind of viewed that, trying to bring the different food banks of Jersey together over the years and doing different things here, including supporting a lot of pantries. We were just talking about why we're not supporting your pantry to my man, Larry Rogers here. But I'm going to tell you a little story because I think, we are the bedrock, I guess, of raising money down here, but we need more money to be raised. And so I'm going to be the guy I decided will go reach in your pocket a little bit today, or try to. So I'm going to tell you a story of what we did in New Jersey. So back in 2008, my fund was down 20%. And this guy, Madoff, you might have heard of him. He was a bad guy. That came around and the financial crisis came around. And I said to Larry, we were giving a little bit of money to the food bank up in Hillside. I said to Larry, listen, there's going to be a big problem here. A lot of people are going to be in trouble. People who gave money to pantries, who gave money to food banks, who gave money to a lot of things. I said, Larry, we're down. What we're going to do here is we're going to try to make sure that nobody goes hungry in Jersey, because there's going to be a need. So what we did is we went to the different food banks back in 2008, and we said, we're going to help you out. We made main food bank up in Hillside. We built a new roof. We did distribution. Down here, we helped out. The third food bank out in Jersey, we helped out. And we went to different pantries. You weren't around then. Pantries and all the major pantries and all the major soup kitchens, and we tried to help them. And I said to Larry, don't let one of them go down. Not one of them go down. And in New York State, I don't know if you know that, a lot of them went down then. And so when we came around, and that was great, and we helped feed people then, and Sandy came. And we kind of redoubled our efforts, and Sandy came was kind of interesting in New Jersey. We actually had a pretty good distribution system in New Jersey. We had food banks had roofs, they had trucks, and you didn't hear about the distribution problems in Jersey. So people, with the help of people like Pat, they got fed. So, that was pretty good. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but I was on the board of Robin Hood, and I was a Jersey guy, only Jersey guy in Robin Hood, and I made them include Jersey in this giving program. And 40% of their money went to Jersey. So that was kind of good. Now, here's a story for people thinking about investing. So we were down 20% in 2008. The next 5 years for my fund, now typically new funds do well, but that was the best 5 years in the history of Appaloosa. Of my fund's named Appaloosa, the best 5 years. So I believe in karma so much, so much. So everybody here, if you're thinking about supporting, and this is a great collaboration and it's a great investment. It's an investment. It's an investment in the people here. It's an investment in yourself and your soul. I think that you should think about that. My best 5 years, okay? After. That's what you should think about. There are returns, the returns that come back to you so many times, comes back to you. Maybe they may not come back in your wallet, but they'll come back in your heart. So I just hope everybody here supports this vision. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker really doesn't need an introduction. It's amazing that I have a chance to call him a partner, but quite frankly, he's been a friend of the community and the food bank for many years. His dedication is a roll-up-your-sleeve kind of dedication. His actions always speak louder than his words. I think he was quoted once as saying, I'm not cliche, and I couldn't agree with that more. I've had one of my biggest honors and privileges over the last 20 years that I've been doing this is meeting different people in different partnerships. This one, I have to say, is just unique and extra special. The level of humility, the level of engagement that we've already experienced just by planning and discussing and just forging a vision together has been absolutely amazing. And I can't really do justice to his words, so I'm going to simply say, please join me in welcoming our partner, our friend, Jon Bon Jovi.
Thank you, Carlos. That's far too kind. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here, and welcome to the future home of the B.E.A.T Center. As you can see, the B.E.A.T Center is an acronym that was developed by my wife, Dorothea, and I for bringing everyone all together. And there are many people here tonight, or today, that I wish to thank for their commitment to our vision of, in fact, bringing everyone all together. First is my wife, Dorothea, who is the reason that the Soul Kitchen is what it is today. She makes me, in fact, look good every day, all day, taking the credit for all her hard work, believe me. Quickly, to the board and to the staff of the JBJ Soul Foundation, Leo Carlin, Craig Spencer, Steve Perna, who is in fact here today, Brother Stephen, Mimi Box, and especially Heather Goldfarb and Tamar Hovnanian, who worked so hard to make this vision a reality. I have to underline that because, in fact, without their dedication and consistent commitment, we would not be here today. I want to thank you, ladies. A special thanks to Richard Saker, who is here even without his lovely wife, Laura, who is a huge supporter of the Soul Kitchen and continues to be a committed partner here. To Larry Rogers, who was fortunate enough to help us convince Mr. Tepper to become involved and to grill me like I've never been grilled before, ever, by anyone. I have lead singer's disease. I am not accustomed to anyone giving the lead singer a hard time. I want to thank Mayor Kelleher, who, when I first met here on another site that we were seeking out, he said, if there's anything we can do. And I knew that in Toms River that we would have the support of our community leaders, and for your leadership, Mayor. Thank you very much. To Carlos Rodriguez, who it's his expertise in the field that, again, will help to make all of us shine. To Chef Ray and the food bank, who are not only going to train people, which was always the next step at the Soul Kitchen, to have more on-site job training opportunities. I thank him. And to Pat Donohue, because without Pat, she's the one that has the boots on the ground since Superstorm Sandy. She's the one that's going to open the doors to the neighbors, not to the banks and to the donors, not to the media. That's why you have the lead singer. I need Pat to knock on the doors of those in need. And I know that we can count on Pat just for that field of her expertise. So I'd also like to thank the newest member of the band, I should say team, David Tepper. David Tepper is a Jersey guy. David Tepper, I had the opportunity to meet a year ago at a Robin Hood event. And if you can imagine, in Manhattan, as events go, Robin Hood is big. Robin Hood makes sure that every nickel that is donated gets directly to those in need. And David got on the stage and he said, "What about Jersey?" And he, of course, stepped up, put up, as they did in Superstorm Sandy. But he said at that dinner that day, "There's so much going on across the bridges and tunnels." And there I was way in the back thinking to myself, boy, do I have an idea for him. So I was able to go down and share our vision of the Soul Kitchen with David and with Larry and explain what it was that we were looking to do. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this should be called the David Tepper B.E.A.T Center, and that would sound just fine with me. But again, thank you from my heart, David, for your commitment to our collective mission. This is, in fact, another example of what I've always liked to call the power of we. Well, each of our organizations around the table could have done their jobs and taken it to the next level here, in fact, in Ocean County. By bringing us all together, we have decided to push ourselves because we believe that we can find more creative ways to improve access to healthy and fresh foods in the areas still devastated by Superstorm Sandy. That we can create opportunities for families who will be able to make healthier food choices, and that we can help create jobs and provide the services and resources all under one roof, thereby cutting down on the travel time between these services. That is just another one of the many lessons I've learned along the way, that people need services, job opportunity, as well as being fed a good, healthy meal in one location. It makes one moment of their day just that much easier. These are just a few of the reasons why we came together to create the B.E.A.T Center. In the last 5 years, we've been inspired by many of our neighbors in need who have come to us seeking help. But it is us who should be thanking them for providing guidance and identifying how a network of partnering resources could come to best fit the needs of a community like Toms River. And although it has taken us a while to find the right location and the resources, we have had incredible support. Our vision of bringing people together around the table is coming together thanks to all of you in this room. So today, as we stand here together as one, with the power of we, to introduce what will be a vibrant center of hope, learning, community, volunteerism, involvement, collaboration, and in fact, unlimited possibility. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you when we open the doors at the grand opening. Have a great day.
What more can we add to that? I'd like to welcome you all to join us in a few minutes to actually join, to walk over to the other side of the plaza and be able to see what's been taped out as the future B.E.A.T Center. There will be displays there by each of our respective team members, and they'll walk through and talk through what it is that we're going to do in each of the different sections. My entire team, a good portion of our entire team at the food bank will be there. And I won't name them by name because we don't want to extend the program by twice as much. But they all have name tags. And as much as I can sit here and tell you about what we're going to do, talk to the experts. Talk to the team members that actually make it happen every day. Go and enjoy. Thank you for joining us. Please enjoy the refreshments that have been provided by local friends. And please step next door and see the future home of the B.E.A.T Center. And if I can ask the speakers to come up so we can take a quick picture by the sign. Thank you, everyone.
Wait.